was, nor is it just linguistic. It's a blend of the two, right? Russell saw it as being linguistic. Einstein saw it as being geometric. Okay, so I decided that reality must be logico-geometric.
And that's crazy because Einstein and the other guy, they believed in science, and science to them was God. What is up, what ifers? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Bo, and today we gonna be tuning into some hidden truth videos. So you're gonna want to stay locked in, because you ain't gonna believe this.
Larry, you're in the shot. Larry, can you please no, don't put your coffee down. Would they buy that? It's space coffee. Can you use a space coaster or something? You guys, this is amazing. They have found life on Mars. I am not even kidding. Legit life on Mars. Look, a fly on Mars. Can we send more there? So this astronaut's wire completely malfunctions, and they quickly cut away before anything bad happens. I'll show it again. Whoopsies. So if these are fake, and again, this is just for entertainment purposes only, someone missed a reflection in the edit.
So my question is, how can you operate a lid on the outside of the space station by manipulating something mechanical on the inside of the space station without losing air pressure?
It's called real good engineering.
Wow.
So a tortilla, a massive tortilla.
A massive tortilla.
Let me know when he figures it out. So this one is uniquely interesting.
That's
the man
crazy.
Upside down looks to be a little
That's
stuck,
crazy.
and if you notice, can't point as far as that, but look at his shirt, and it happens right when this guy presses a button on the wall, and then when the other guy goes by, he seems to release something behind him. Guys, that is so awesome about the space shuttle launch. It's great, but has anyone seen my pet rat anywhere? His name's Hugh Jackman. No? Now they're using something that's attached to a cord, and it gets stuck on something behind her. I mean, if it was a line, it'd be hard to maneuver it, but what is it getting stuck on?
Yeah, I think NASA, I think the government, I think everybody is realizing that they can't play these games on the people no more, because we damn near got it all figured out. Damn near.
You might be an alien.
We don't understand. I would rather be that pyramid, right? People don't understand how intelligent we were. To be able to calculate your position and triangulate the stars, get right under there,
Right.
build the world's biggest structure, put the heaviest stones on the top, lightest ones on the bottom,
Right.
with no modern day construction,
Teach.
and then to circumnavigate the world and do that all over the world in order to stabilize the Earth's latitude and longitude field, you would have to damn near be an alien, or you would have to possess alien intelligence.
We don't know how you got there.
So what
How you get from this point to that point and do the exact
And
same
so
thing.
my ancestors already had a template for me to follow, and it was better than yours, because you still can't even copy it to this day. We really love the ability to develop thought. We would not stop studying the achievements of Egypt.
Teach.
And the reason Egypt is important is because it was a global civilization. It civilized the world.
It's a shame what happened to that guy, man. If y'all don't know, that's young Pharaoh. Young Pharaoh was a force to be reckoned with back in the days, man. But he allowed some negative forces in, and he turned to drugs, and it destroyed him quicker than he rose to fame. Like, being destroyed does not take no time at all. It took that man literally 5 years to really get to his peak in his career, for it all to be taken within 1 year. And I don't even think it took 1 year.
What the hell is going on this planet? So according to NASA, the aliens that's supposed to be coming here in November have a strong resemblance to us. The aggressive aliens that's on their way to Earth, that's supposed to get here in November, resemble African-American people. And they're saying they're around 7 feet tall. And if that's the case, we already know why they're aggressive. We already know what they're coming back here for. Earlier this summer, the Pentagon said that the Anunnaki will be back here in the next 2 years. And now NASA Of course, again, NASA is saying that the aliens that are coming here this November look like African Americans. You do the math. The truth of the matter is, the truth has been hidden for way too long about what this planet is, where this planet came from, who we are as a people. And apparently, those interstellar beings that's coming here are coming here for a reason. And apparently, someone's spoken to them. Someone is keeping contact with them. Someone knows their true purpose. Because you can't randomly just say that they're aggressive and they're coming here aggressively if you haven't spoken to them or if they're not here already. Welcome to 2025. I want to see what's next. I'm out.
You know, it's crazy because how the hell would they know what they would look like unless they had already spoken to them or had a prior engagement with them? No. But this ain't the first time I've heard that the aliens or so-called aliens were 7 feet tall and they were dark. But just to say they look like African Americans, hold on now, bro, because we ain't the only dark people on the earth now. I mean, you got Africans. So, and specifically the Sudan people, they are as close to alien-like I've ever seen, especially with their color.
Why all these niggas go to hell and all they see is niggas? Why y'all always see niggas? Where's Jeffrey Dahmer? Where's Leopold of Belgium? Huh? Where's Erdolf? Where are they at? Where's Hoover? Why y'all always seeing niggas when y'all go to hell? Why y'all ain't see the people that colonized our ancestors down there? Oh, you see the people that was out here doing witchcraft, but you don't see the people that were using witchcraft on us through Christianity. Okay.
You are the master of your reality, if you can understand that. You live in a fantasy, if you can understand that. Bob Marley said something interesting. He said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. Have no fear for atomic energy, because none of them can stop the time. Stop here. These groups, okay, are not above nature, the universe, and God.
Natural disasters prove that every time.
Every day. When we look at these groups, we are looking at what they are advertising themselves to us as. This is a propaganda and perception game. These groups, they are designed to deceive. There's no truth in them. None of them is above nature. None of them. So as long as you know nature, God, the universe, or should I say this? God, universe, nature. That's your gun. G-U-N. God, universe, nature. Remember that gun. I'm putting a weapon in your hand. God, universe, nature. That's the gun you fight back with.
Wow.
When you have that gun in your hand, nothing they say, do, are, be, nothing. Now, how do I know this? Hip hop. 1970s, all these organizations was against us. Every last one of secret societies we knew about,
right.
Government agencies,
FBI, CIA,
imagine the
KKK.
Go back on this. The entire strength of this colonial system was against our parents.
All right.
The entire, not just one agency.
The entire
government was against our parents that had nothing except one gun. God, the universe, and nature. They defeated that government. The government you have now exists because our parents destroyed the last one. They're not, the enemy is never going to tell you when they lost. No, it's up to the winners to say
to write the history.
The
winners write history.
We won. Our people are not fighters. The African, we're not that. We're
of nature,
artists.
Right?
We're the nerds of the world. Like, could you imagine?
We have so much power that we don't have to enforce it on.
We don't have to. We are the truth itself. Imagine they're fighting against us just being.
God don't fight.
God don't have to. Martin Luther King said, I have a dream that one day Eminem is going to be sitting with Dr. Dre. That's what he said. I have a dream. Okay, that one day Third Base was going to be doing a concert with De La Soul.
Beastie Boys and Run DMC.
And why can I forget Beastie Boys and Run DMC? But imagine now, either we going to look at the king, Dr. King, and say, oh, that was just a fun speech. His speech came true.
All the way.
All the way true, and it came true in us. So here you have a man speaking, 1963, he's talking to the nation, to the world. He says, I have a dream of human unity. Now, only a few people supported Dr. King when he gave the speech, after he gave his speech, and when he died or was killed. The prophet is never welcomed in his own home. And so we look at the words of our prophets, and I'm just saying Dr. King, there's Garvey, Kwame Ture, Malcolm X, and others. I mentioned them. We could look them up and you know them. Martin R. Delaney. We don't heed their message. We don't heed their message. And it's not a criticism of our people. We've been trained to be objective to our education. So even though we learn about our ancestors, we never become them. We can learn all day about great men and women of our ancestry, but we will never continue them.
Because their energy is eternal.
Their energy is with us right now. You can tune into it.
Right.
But if you got a word like Illuminati in your head, that very word,
blockage.
Boom, you can't see nothing. They run everything. They are God.
They're more powerful than I am.
They're everything. They're sitting back just like you are watching the same television you watch.
Right.
And they're just as afraid. And this is the sick part. Okay, here's the sick piece. It's not our children that are affected by this. These are intellectuals that are affected by this.
Facts.
The smarter you get, it seems the dumber you get. The smarter our intellectuals become, the more cowardly they become. This has something to do with this colonial education we're getting, because I know some great Black minds. You know, I'm in the university system. I see these minds. I talk to people, great minds. But that paycheck is going to dictate what's going to come out that mind. Or come out your mouth of that mind.
And that paycheck is based off of that other piece of paper that they got to affirm their paycheck.
I got master's degree.
So therefore I get paid more.
I get paid more.
Therefore I'm controlled by your system.
That was deep. That was deep.
So how do you cause something to go from the future to the past? If I were at an intelligence agency and I heard there was a guy with the highest IQ ever recorded who was contradicting the liberal establishment agenda, I'd probably have a file on that guy. Have you had any run-ins with the...
Some interest has been shown.
Most of us have an IQ of 100, score in the 140 range, and you're in the genius to near genius category. 195 to 200, well, you're talking 1 in several billion people. Now, historians figure that Einstein and Franklin scored about 160, Darwin 165, Galileo 185, Isaac Newton 190. That means Langan could possibly be the smartest person in the world.
So for those of us who have an IQ that's a little bit lower than yours, I'll admit it, with no false modesty and no undue confidence, the first question we have to establish: does God exist?
Yes. The reality has an identity. Okay? The identity is that as which something exists. Okay? Matter of fact, when you say the word reality, you're naming an identity. You're identifying something. This.
I'm smiling because your answer on this is so beautiful. It just reminds me of Moses at the burning bush. And Moses at the burning bush says, "Who shall I tell the people that you are?" Talking to God. And God says, "Tell them I am that I am."
That's right.
I am identity itself. I'm being himself.
Exactly. That's exactly right. That's what the CTMU says. It just comes up with the mathematical structure that you need to build a reality out of that. You see? So you come up with that identity and then you search it for its properties. You see, once you've built the preliminary framework, then you start deducing the properties of this identity, and you find out that those properties match those of God as described in most of the world's major religions. The reality isn't just geometric, which is what Einstein thought it was.
You heard what he said? He said it would describe the God that's named in most of the world's religions. He didn't say one religion. He said most of the world religions. So basically, all religions or all belief systems are referring to the same God. That God is within you. That God you created within your reality. That's why that God exists, because of you. Because you believe in it. So you can't tell nobody that Jesus is the way when Muhammad might be the way for them. You can't do that. Just like can't nobody tell you Muhammad is the way and Jesus is the way for you. Same difference.
Nor is it just linguistic. It's a blend of the two, right? Russell saw it as being linguistic. Einstein saw it as being geometric. Okay, so I decided that reality must be logico-geometric.
And that's crazy because Einstein and the other guy, they believed in science, and science to them was God. So it's basically your own belief system, man. This is deep. I like this.
Putting the two of them together. And of course, then I realized, well, I've got to put together a theory, construct a theory in which reality is actually logico-geometric. And so that's where the CTMU came from.
And the CTMU is the cognitive theoretic model of the universe.
Cognitive theoretic model of the universe.
This is your theory of everything.
My theory of everything, and it's all in the name. If you take a good close look at that, you've got cognitive theory, and of course, you know, a theory is a kind of language, theoretic language, okay? And then you've got cognitive theoretic model, you've got a model, and then you've got universe. You've got a language, you've got a universe, and then the model is the mapping between them. CTMU says those are all the same thing.
They are.
All of those terms, all of those properties are distributed everywhere over reality. Reality can have only one structure once you realize that and you implement it in theoretical form.
But this is so important that you're not just talking about this siloed aspect of thought or this, you know.
And let me break that down because I understand this. So basically what he's saying is whether I say that Jesus is God or Jehovah is God or Muhammad is God, they all are similar because they all were created the same way. They all had a ministry at the same time. They all died similarly at the same time. And remember, I said this once before, that all religion is based upon the cosmos, cosmology. That's why the sun name is the sun. They don't call God the universe, but the universe is God. And the sun is God's son because the sun was birthed from the universe, which is God. I mean, and every religion understands this. And that's why in Egyptian mythology, think about it, it's called mythology, right? Every god represented some planet in the solar system. Just like Ra represented the sun. The other god Horus represented the sun as well, because if you think about the word Horus, when they translate it, it's translated into the word hour. I can go deep dive in that, but that's not what this is about. But then you got Isis. Isis represents the moon. There's this book called The Side Realist, and it goes so deep into how these gods were translated from actual planets. And this is why when you see Jesus with and the halo was actually the sun, because Jesus was a representation of the sun. And you notice that nobody has a picture of actual God, because God doesn't have a actual structure, because God is the universe. But the sun has a structure. We can see this. You know what? I digress though, but there it is.
Philosophy over here, language over here, math over here, physics over here, but you're presenting something that is universal.
Correct. Absolute and universal. To get the absolute invariance, the absolute truths of reality, you know, things that are true everywhere you go, no matter, you know, at what time you exist or in what place you exist, it's the same.
So we're we're not just defining God out of existence. Sometimes you'll hear people say God exists, but they'll give God such a weak and shallow definition that the God that they're describing has no relation to the God that we conceive of. You're saying, no, this God is God. God himself is conscious and therefore personal?
Yes. You can establish a personal relationship with God. We're images of God. You know what an image is? It's basically the product of a mapping. God maps himself into each human being, right? That's a very personal thing that God is doing for us, right? And I don't understand how anybody can say that it's any different. We reflect the structure of the universe. Each one of us, we're carried by it. Everything we do, we exist in a medium. What does that mean? Right? Where did it come from?
Yeah.
What holds it together? What is the unifying coherence, the source of coherence of that medium?
Now, is your claim a pantheistic claim that God is the universe or the universe is God and that's that? Or no? Or is God outside of the universe and created?
God is greater than, well, what is the universe?
Damned if I know.
You ever hear of the simulation hypothesis?
Yes.
Okay, well, the simulation hypothesis is basically the idea that the reality we see around us, physical reality, is simulated on some sort of an automaton or a computer.
Yeah, some aliens somewhere have just, they've fooled us.
The idea is that you've got some kind of an automaton running, you've got a simulation running. And God, it's more panentheistic. You know what panentheism is?
I do. I think I do. But that means that we are in God. Let me know how I've gone wrong. We are in God, and God is in us. And it is not merely that God and the creation are one and the same, but they are quite related. Is that something approaching panentheism?
A little bit, yes. Okay. There's the idea is that you've got the physical universe that you see around you, but God is not confined to the physical universe. Okay. See, there's an ordinary pantheist assumes that God is somehow confined to the universe, that there is just what we see around us, and God is in every piece of it. God is distributed over.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit more complex than that, because this part of the universe that we see around us cannot exist just by itself.
Yeah.
Okay? There are certain things that it entails. And when you go into those entailments, that's how you get to God. That's how you get to the identity of reality. Okay? And now to get back to the reality of self-simulation, or at least that's what I call it, self-simulation. But to get back to the simulation hypothesis, that we're living in the display of that simulation. Mm-hmm. In addition to the display, there is also a processing aspect. Okay? And God, it captures both of those things. It captures both the display and the processing.
What do you mean? I hate to put it in the...
Well, I mean, okay, here's the display. You realize the display contains states.
Yep.
Okay, you see things, the objects contain states. States are static. That's why they're called states. Yeah. Okay, static. How do they change? Well, they have to be processed. Something has to process.
Yeah.
And in the calculus, for example, those are tiny little infinitesimal intervals. Okay, but they are not actually contained in the states themselves. They have a neighborhood, a little tangent space or what have you, where you can sort of draw little vectors that suggest that some kind of processing is going on. But the idea of being a state and being a process, those are two different things in the ordinary way of looking at it, okay? It turns out that you can't properly describe reality and causation at all unless you put those things together somehow. And that's what it takes God to do. Okay? God provides the processing functionality for your state. You have an internal state, an external state. You're a material human being.
Yeah.
Right? But to explain how that is changing through time, and maintaining its coherence through time, even as it changes, that's what you need God for.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that entirely. And so I might not be sophisticated enough to parse all of the quibbles that there might be, but broadly speaking, as a Christian, so much of what you're saying resonates as obviously true for me. The idea that, I'm a member of the body of Christ. The idea that God creates the world in this great act of love, this great act of charity.
Self-love.
Well,
self-love. Don't forget, you're an image of God.
Right.
So in loving himself, God loves you.
And you're
supposed to love God back.
Right. And this ties into something like the Trinity, right? The idea that God is three persons in one divine unity. So all of this is making a lot of sense to me. So Now, how do I make sense of consciousness?
Well, it turns out that in order to quantize that theory that I was talking about, that theory of identity, where you've got the display, you've got the processor, and it's handling both. It turns out that in order to handle both of those things, you need a certain kind of quantum. That quantum is called an identity operator. God is the identity. So obviously these little quanta, they have to be, they're doing things, they're processing, so we can call them operators, right? They are identity operators. Okay, the identity operator has, basically it takes input from the outside world, recognizes it or accepts it using syntax, processes it, and then returns it to the world as external state. Okay, so things come in, then they're processed, right? There's throughput, which is, you could call that the subjective or internal state of the identity operator, and then it's returned to the external universe. So what I'm saying is that's consciousness. And I'm saying that consciousness exists in every part of the universe because those are the quanta.
That's what I'm asking. Are you telling me that this table is conscious?
In that sense, yes, generically conscious, but it's relying on consciousness to do it. There's levels of quanta, okay? These are tertiary quanta. They're all put together using physical localistic forces, right? But those are underdeterminative. They don't fully determine what happens. Why? The Heisenberg uncertainty principle, for example, it tells you that, you know, the quantum rules, they're probabilistic.
Right.
They don't actually determine events, okay? So what determines events? We do. We don't know how we do it, but we do it. When everybody's will is put together, we're all creating the best possible universe we can for ourselves. Right. And God is what harmonizes all of our different perspectives and makes things happen for all of us at the same time. And if we were doing things correctly, this would be the best of all possible worlds. Sadly, however, we oftentimes make mistakes. And that's what we have to get out of doing, but we can't get out of doing it until we understand what reality is, what we are, and what the relationship between those two things.
Do we really do much of anything at all in the sense, do we have free will?
Yes, we do. We have to have free will. Basically, what you've got is you've got a bunch of quantum fields in superposition, and then those fields consist of little fluctuations, little quantum fluctuations, right? Where is the fixed array? We were talking about a manifold, right, with a bunch of zero-dimensional points, okay? Those two things are not compatible, okay? Quantum field theory and that fixed array manifold where you can parameterize all of the causal functions using the manifold, that doesn't work, okay? Those two things don't fit together.
Often the conversation, especially these days, becomes this sort of shallow discussion of, well, this caused this, and I'm going to describe a totally deterministic system, and so as a result of this causing this, causing this, causing this, you don't have free will. And you're saying cause is actually more complicated than just cause.
That's correct. In other words, talking about free will in those terms was osios. It means nothing.
Yeah.
You can't get anywhere with it, okay? Reality is actually generative, okay? It's not just fixed manifold. Everything is being created all the time. Not just our states. Our states are being recreated, right? You know, I can cross my legs, I can uncross my leg. That's the changing state.
Yeah.
But medium around us is changing. When I look at you, I'm seeing Michael Knowles, okay? I'm seeing you sitting there. But that means that I'm seeing your boundary. I'm seeing what distinguishes you from the external environment. Right? There's a medium around you. So I have to be regenerating that at the same time as I'm regenerating your state in my head, okay? When I say regenerating, so the reason I'm doing that, I could also say I'm recognizing Michael Knowles, I'm recognizing your state right now, but I'm also recognizing the state of the medium around you, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to distinguish you from the medium and you wouldn't exist at all.
Right, right. Well, it's sort of like a little baby, right? Has trouble recognizing the limits of things and recognizing what some individual object might be from, you know, the glass on the table. They have trouble distinguishing those.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Okay, the baby has to learn to distinguish those boundaries. Right. And it has to receive the right visual cues at the right age so that it can actually learn how to do that.
So now we're at metacausation. So what does metacausation
causation works from past to future, okay? Metacausation works from past to future and from future to past in a closed loop. It's called a conspansive cycle. So that's basically what we have to do to quantization in order to make causality work. And of course, when I say causality, I mean metacausation. Okay?
So how does
Because ordinary past to future causality, parameterized by a fixed array, that doesn't work.
So I get past to future. This seems pretty simple. I pick up the glass of water, I put it over here, and now I remember 2 seconds ago that water was over here, and then I caused it to go over there.
Right.
So how do you cause something to go from the future to the past?
Can't go anywhere unless there's some place for it to go.
Yeah.
In the universe, everything changes with time. You're actually, in the theory of relativity, for example, all the points are events.
Yep.
Okay, and that means that there's a time parameter involved. Okay, so when you take that glass and you move it from there to there, okay, you think that there's a point right there where you're going to move that glass. That's false. Okay, the point to which you are going to move that glass is actually in the future. When you pick up that glass, it's still in. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. Okay, that makes sense. Getting back to God, I guess we're always trying to get back to God. God is outside of time and space.
Well, God, every part is over time and space, and there's some left over. Time and space is static. It's a display.
Yeah.
Imagine that you're a little homunculus inside a computer display, like the Matrix, for example. God not only distributes over that, but there's a whole other domain where God exists. And that's the processing domain. That's the non-terminal domain in the CTMU. We're in the terminal domain, right? And most physicists, when they try to reason about the terminal domain, they reason under physical confinement. Okay, well, I can only look at physics, and I have to use what I know about physics, what I can observe about physics, to explain everything else that I explain. So they have that kind of explanatory closure going right there.
I'm not going to ask you if I'm going to go to heaven or hell, but will I go to either heaven or hell?
You will persist after you die. Where you go depends on who Michael Knowles really is. You would know that better than anyone.
Yeah, I hope I know that better than. But you're telling me I'm going somewhere.
Yes.
You're confident of that. I don't just evaporate. I don't just turn into oblivion.
Well, you can. If you displease God, that's exactly what's going to happen to you. God is going to cut you off, and he's going to say, I can't see him anymore. He's going to turn away from you, and then you won't be able to reunite. Salvation will be impossible for you, because salvation means that God has got to pull you back into himself.
Right.
Okay, but God doesn't want to see you anymore. He doesn't even know you exist. He knows your physical body is there, but he's not interested anymore because you hate him, you deny his existence, you offend him, so he's not going to look at you, right? So now what happens? Well, okay, you're dead. You still want to live. There's something in you that still desperately wants to live, so it's still going to be there. What happens now? Well, you try to create your own world for yourself, but if you're a bad person and you're an evil person, what kind of world is that going to be? It's going to be an evil world, and that's what we call it. Hell.
This is what John Milton said.
Yeah. When you think hell, you live in hell. You create the world that you live in. Oh my God.
In the mouth of Satan, he says, the mind is its own place, and it can make a hell of heaven or heaven a hell.
Now you got it.
So the things that people see when they're on psychedelics, I usually write them off and I tell people, you're just hallucinating. But you're saying maybe that's not all it is. They might be seeing something real.
Well, once again, what is reality? Is reality just stuff out there? No. Reality has a mental aspect.
Yep.
Right? And once you admit that basically everything has a mental aspect, then of course what's going on in your mind is real. It takes on a kind of reality. It's not the same as physical reality. It is nevertheless real.
Are angels and demons real?
Yes. Yes.
I think so too. God is real. Angels are real. Demons are real. Is the devil real?
Oh, yes. Yes. Well, it has to be. We were talking about Michael Knowles being surrounded by the medium and, you've got a boundary. Well, God has a boundary too. He's got a very tight boundary. He is perfect. He can't take anything resembling imperfection, right? He can't take it into himself because that would be a contradiction.
Yep.
Okay, so God needs an antithesis in order to be properly defined. What is that antithesis? Anti-God or Satan. So it definitely exists. Now, Satan isn't coherent because, he basically hates existence. Nevertheless, he gains coherence through human beings, through secondary tellers, as they're called in the CTMU. In other words, Satan can nucleate power structures, for example, things like corporations and governments. where you've got people in there that can be acquired as resources, and there's a kind of skeleton, a corporate organization, a governmental, organization that's holding them together, holding them in place, that can be exploited by Satan.
So you're not describing Manichaeism. You're not saying there's God and then the opposite of God, and there's some maybe equivalence between the two. You're saying that God, obviously there is an antithesis. Christ has an antichrist, but that it's incoherent. And are you saying that he sort of that the devil sort of lacks substance, or that's why he needs the humans?
I'm saying the devil lacks coherence. Coherence is what brings everything into superposition, right, with itself. In other words, it allows something to, this is going to sound a little bit paradoxical, allows something to communicate non-locally with itself,
okay,
right? All of its possible states are in superposition. They exist all at once.
I think I'm going to end it there, y'all. Well, let me say this, right? This is the part that gets me. While all that stuff resonates with me, and what he's saying, I honestly believe is to be factual. We all create our own reality. We all create the things that we believe in that reality. But this is the part that gets me. I have created my own reality. All of these things around me, I have created in my own reality. But this is the part that bothers me. Are the people, you, that's watching my videos, that's responding to me, are you created within my reality? And if so, why can't I make you do what I want you to do? If this is my reality and everything in my reality I created. Can somebody answer that question? Or is everything just a lie? I know that there's some type of quantum physics behind life and our existence, but we will never ever understand and know. Only thing we can do is theorize and speculate, and it's just a complete circle. And this is why I stick with the idea of biocentrism, and this is why I'm an omnist, because those help me understand life a lot better than any other thesis. But I don't know, y'all, but that little documentary was interesting. I don't know where it came from. I just ran into it and we dived deep. You feel? But hey, I have nothing else to say on this. And remember, challenge the argument and not the person. I'll catch y'all in the next one.